Let's return to This Week in America. Here's your host, Rick Bratton.
Welcome back, everybody, coast to coast, This Week in America. Keith Phillip sees poetry as a window into his own unpredictable self. Willing to take risking it all without any constraints. The opportunity to use poetry from a platform is a powerful, positive communicative tool for Keith. He feels poetry is the equalizer, a revolutionary as nature, as if water just suddenly appears and covers the ocean, creating a negative action into a positive one. Keith Phillip, author of Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste, an awesome and empowering collection of poetry. Keith is a naturally gifted person who thinks there's something bigger than him in the universe. A gifted writer, inventor, entrepreneur, he's been writing for decades and writes from deep down inside his heart, educated by the knowledge of his experiences. Keith has been called a thoughtful word artist. Keith Paul Phillip, author of Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste, a collection of thought-provoking reads that will give you something to think about in the words for days to come. And Keith Paul Phillip joins us on This Week in America. Keith, welcome to the program. A pleasure to have you with us.
Greetings, Rick. It's a pleasure being here and an honor, man.
It is our pleasure and honor to have you on the program to talk about this book that is touching so many people. Let's start by talking about you and writing. You are such a powerful writer. You've received accolades, excellent reviews for this book in particular. Talk about the background. When did you decide to start writing and found that you had an actual talent at writing and helping people?
Started off reading a lot, extensive reading, Rick. I was reading for years. With the reading, ideas start to shape, views, visions start to appear. So from the foundation of reading, I started writing, Rick.
And you've been able to help so many people through your writing. This book by Keith Paul Phillip that we're talking about is Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. Book available wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, also from BooksidePress.com, and Keith's website, authorkeithpaulphillip.com, and we'll have all that on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. I talked about poetry and how you feel about that. Talk about the various genres that you write in and why you have a fondness for writing poetry.
Well, I'm an individual who knows that he knows not. But with my limited knowledge, I want to inspire the nation, the earth, Rick. With my inspiration, all I want to do is inspire with the limited knowledge that I get the inspiration from. So there's where it stems from. Inspiring. I want to write with inspiration to inspire. That's how it started off.
It's interesting. That's where it started and what it's grown into for you. And this book is touching many. Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste by Keith Paul Phillip, our guest on the program. Let's talk about how you approach writing and getting a book published. How did you approach this book, this collection? How did you come up with the material for Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste? How did this book develop?
Well, I've been writing and putting down the material for years. It didn't start it off like yesterday or 2 years ago, Rick. I've been writing, having the material. You, my friend, I will call you, Rick. Say, Rick, I have a piece here. Would you like to hear it? You say, of course, Keith. Let me hear it. And I will read it to you. And then you will give me your honest, mean, constructive review. And then you will say, Keith, you should do something with this. And it started there, Rick. I started trying to get the material published. Now, your next question is how I approach. I don't know how other people approach writing, Rick, but I cannot pick up a pen and a blank sheet of paper and say I'm going to write poetry. It's impossible, Rick. I can't. My approach is listen. I gotta listen. Sometimes even close my eyes, Rick, and get back silent. That's silent until it hit me. So when it hit me now, Rick, I'm having it mentally dictated. I'm mentally dictating it.
Yes.
And I have it in my mentally. And then I'll get paper. I'm an old school guy, Rick. Get a pen and the paper. And what I have in mentally, I just it down on the paper. You know, scrappy, a little scrappy. And then I go to the typewriter and I fine tune it, Rick. Put it and structure it, Rick. And change some sentence, probably elaborate on it, move some paragraphs, and take me 15, 20 minutes, Rick, to write my poetry. I don't take days or hours, 15, 20 minutes. After mentally dictating it, it comes so easy to me after it. So that's my approach. I got to listen. Then the material comes to me. I don't go searching for the material. I don't want to look for words, searching for words. I give the inspiration the credit. So when I get inspired, I want to inspire the people.
And you've done that, and it's so fascinating listening to you talk about the approach you take. So many people, it's like, okay, I'm going to write 6 hours a day, and from 10 to 4, and 10 o'clock comes, I don't feel like writing, but I'm going to sit at the typewriter or the computer or the legal pad and get something going, and they force it. That's not, from what I understand, Keith does in his process. Keith Paul Phillip, his website is authorkeithpaulphillip.com. This book is Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. What is the goal for your books? And let's talk specifically about this one. What do you hope the words, the themes you address in this book, how do you hope they touch the reader?
When I approach my publisher, this is my second publisher, Bookside Press. So my project manager asked me, Keith, what is your goal? What's your goal for the book? I tell my project manager, I just want to inspire the people. I just want the earth need healing, and I need to inspire the people. Then I said, probably, can I get it translated in different languages? I need to inspire the earth, you know. And that is how my aim came to this book. Then I reached this point where she had presented to me so much different offers. I didn't know that writing a book has so much different contingents and different opportunities.
Oh,
All
yes.
I wanted to write a book, get it installed, and sell. Now I'm press releasing, I'm in editor, interviewing. I didn't know all of this, Rick.
Yeah, this is interesting because you do the creative part so well. That's where you excel. And now you're taking that creative work of yours out to the public, and that's a whole different profession, isn't it? You've got marketing people and publishing experts, and it's a whole different field than what you were used to in writing this. What's this journey been like for you when you take this project, Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste, and now it's published, and you're doing interviews and press releases and that type of promotion? What has this been like for you? Is this enjoyable for Keith?
It's fun. It's giving me motivation to put more material together, Rick. And that's what I've been doing. I've been writing, putting down the material. But to publish a book is kind of costly. So I'm just writing and putting down the material. But it's fun, Rick. And it's getting more easier for me. It's getting so easy that I don't have to search. Why I'm saying easy, I don't have to search for topics. Topics come to me by listening. I think that's the tool. My greatest tool or approach is listening. I got to listen.
If you would have thought years ago, before you started this process, you mentioned when this came to you and you decided to start writing, did you have any idea when you started off writing down your thoughts that it would turn into a published book and doing international interviews and press releases? Any idea that this was the journey that you would be on with your career?
I just wanted to be creative, Rick. Just create some, This journey had opened my mind and give me more perspective. I'm learning the industrial language. I'm learning so much, besides being creative. Now I'm learning so much the process of publishing now. And, that's added to me. That's additional thing. From being creative, now knowing the language and the process and other opportunities, that journey, I'm enjoying it. I can say I'm enjoying it, and it's very motivating.
Well, with your talent and the success of this book in particular, this is a journey that's going to be continuing. The book we're talking about by Keith Paul Phillip is Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. The book available wherever books are sold. His website, author KeithPaulPhillip.com. You mentioned there was another book that you had written. What's the title of that book?
A second book. It's all-in-one mystery, Rick. That book came into manifestation by asking so many questions about myself, about the universe, about the mind, about people. I've been asking questions. And that's how that one, the title, that's how it came. All-in-one mystery. I've been asking so many questions in that book.
Is that a key to your success, your inquisitive nature? Because you ask a lot of questions, as you're talking about in that particular book, but this one as well. Do you look at something and sort of subconsciously ask the question, why?
So, most of the time, I'm putting images to words,
Yes.
Like, put images, and it gives me a more clear vision, I like to say vision, right? So when I put image to words, I'm also seeing, clearly what the word, the substance of the word, the essence of the word, So that's how I put into it, it gotta be substance. It gotta be, peace. Sometimes my words have to be like a song. It have notes. I gotta hit the notes right. I gotta hit it. If it's out of tune, it's like hitting the right notes. When putting images to words and putting notes to words, it's exciting and it's fun, right?
And you do it so well. The guest on the program is Keith Paul Phillip. The book we're discussing is Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. The book available wherever books are sold, Amazon, Barnes & Noble, BooksidePress.com, and Keith's website, author KeithPaulPhillip.com. You've been called, I mentioned this, a thoughtful word artist, and that's really what you're doing. Talk about some of the themes that you address. For example, in this book, Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. What are some of the themes, the topics that you address in this book?
The title means a lot to me. In that book, Rick, be patient, be fearless, be patient, be brave, fearless, never in a haste. What I'm trying to tell the people, to be successful, they don't take haste. It don't have to be hasty to be successful. You know your goal, you plan for it, and you approach it step by step, carefully. So that's the title. But other titles in the book, like mother, and I take the female in high esteem. Rick, I hold the female and respect the female. So I write a lot about mothers and the father role, the mother role, the family. I write about the earth. That's my home. I always try to write something about the earth, and what the man-made disasters and the man-made problems about the earth. So there's where the topics. I like to write what people could relate to it. And if I write it, and somebody could say, yes, and I even, at one time, someone was reading my poetry in that same book. Dear Dad. And tears start coming down their eyes. They say, what happened? I say, what happened? He said, Keith, that's me. That's my dad. I give her a hug, I embrace her, and tears was coming down her eyes. So that's the inspiration. I know. And that's more motivation. Seeing her read the book, get so emotional, tears in them. I had was to embrace her. So those are the things I like, and people could relate to the substance of the poetry. Like me, I put images to words. I hope they could put images to the words, just like how I put images to the words.
Well, you use that word relate, which I think sums up what Keith is able to deliver in his work of poetry in the book. Be patient, be brave, fearless, never in a haste. Lesson number 1 is the title, and I do love the title of the book because that we can all learn something just from the title. One review, a review that was raving in the talent that you have and the way you're able to communicate the thoughts and the concepts that you're talking about, says that different people, different readers will have different meanings. And is that part of the power of poetry, that people will read it? I may read something, maybe have a whole different interpretation because it's valid in my life as opposed to somebody else who was reading that. Is that one of the benefits of poetry? Is it really means what we want it to mean based on our life?
Yes, Rick. I want to write for the earth, not just local. I want my poetry to go international, universal, because that's how I view. I have a universal view, of life.
The book is available wherever books are sold. Amazon, of course, Barnes & Noble, the publisher, booksidepress.com, Keith's own website, author KeithPaulPhillip.com. This book, Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. A couple minutes left in the program. What are you working on now? You've mentioned the one book. What do you have that you're working on that you can tell us about?
Well, there's a third book already published, The Reflection of the Tears, Dangling in the Pond. And that's more up to date, what's going on, today. I talk a lot about the COVID, about the war in Ukraine, and what's going on in America or the protests. That's more the first previous books. There were a lot of material already in the making. I just had us to elaborate and fine tune them. But the reflection of the tears is a more up to date today function. But Rick, I have material. I have a library of material which I can publish probably 3 or 4 more books, Rick.
Excellent. And we hope that you do, and we really encourage people to pick up a copy of Keith's book. And it comes along at a really important time as we seem to be divided. We're fighting each other. We're looking for arguments sometimes, it seems. And you've got a book here that Keith has done that touches us on a totally different level. Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste by Keith Paul Phillip. Discussing harmony, love, unity in our relationships, regardless of race, nationality, beliefs, family background. It's something we really need at this particular point in time. And as I mentioned at the beginning, one review saying you'll think about the words for days to come. It has that type of impact on the people who have read this book. Keith, it's been a pleasure having you on the program. Hopefully we'll have a chance to do this again and talk about the other books. It's been a pleasure. Congratulations on the success of your work so far, and we look forward to having you back on the program. Thank you for joining us.
Very motivating, Rick. I hope to do it again. Appreciate it.
It has been our pleasure to talk with Keith Paul Phillip. His book is Be Patient, Be Brave, Fearless, Never in a Haste. The book is available wherever books are sold. Keith's website is authorkeithpaulphillip.com. And, of course, all this information on our website, thisweekinamerica.us. And we're back on today's program right after these messages.
You're listening to This Week in America with Rick Bratton. More after this.